you very much. So, firstly, it is a real pleasure to be here. Thank you, Wajdi, for inviting us. It is great. I mean, we've been long-time partners with Arselor, so it is great to be here and contribute to spread the word of Tanaza and how valuable Arselor has been so far. I am Federico Bilzi. I am the head of sales of Tanaza. In Tanaza, we have 5 sales consultants who takes care of different areas of the world, since we work in over 140 countries. So we have a few sales consultants, Spanish speaking, who takes care of the Latin America market and Spain. We have French sales consultants who take care of North Africa, and English, and so on, and Italian, of course. Being the head of sales, my responsibility is actually to coordinate the work of the sales team and taking care of the most important partners, most important and strategic partners. Massimo, instead, is the head of the success team. Success team plays a very important role because they have to bring customer to success, and at the same time supporting them in the technical issues that may arise during works, especially in very large networks. So I just wanted to introduce myself, and I will start with this presentation. Please interrupt me at any time with questions. I will try to make it as much as engaging as possible, but please feel free to ask questions also during the presentation. So here I just wanted to give some overview about Tanaza. Tanaza is a company that has been in the market for 10 years now. He was launched by Sebastiano Bertani, who is our CEO in Milan. So we are, of course, Italian. And our goal was actually to really disrupt the market, basically. At Tanaza, we do something which is very unique, which is the possibility to use our technology, our applications, our softwares on different access point brands. I often do this example, and I compare Tanaza with Android. Android, which is the operating system of many mobile phones, such as Samsung, LG, Huawei, and so on. And all of them have in common one thing, which is the Play Store, through which they can download and use applications such as Facebook, WhatsApp, and so on. Well, this is what we want to do at Tanaza. We want to be the Android of Wi-Fi access points, standardizing the operating system and the way professionals can configure, monitor, and troubleshoot Wi-Fi networks. And at the same time, we want to give added value applications which are so important for many businesses, such as restaurants, accommodation, hospitality, and so on. We have now more, well, this number should have been increased. We have now around 1,500 customers in more than 140 countries. Among these partners, we have some big franchising, some big chains. Claire's, for instance, is a chain of jewelry, so it's a retail chain. Burger King, I guess, does not need any explanation, is a kind of McDonald's. Pizza Company is another franchising with hundreds of shops in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and so on. But we also work with satellite operators such as Yasat, and we are OEM global partners with access point manufacturer. If you ever used access points such as Linksys, which is very common and renowned, or Intelbras, which is more, more spread in Brazil, you will see that their cloud system is actually ours, that we customized for their needs. So this is the variety of the customers that we have, from franchising chains to satellite operators to distributors and reseller partners such as Arselor, and with access point brands such as Linksys. Over the years, especially the last 3-4 years, we've been participating in the most important conferences about Wi-Fi in the world, such as Wi-Fi Now. And in Berlin during 2018, this is a very prestigious and important association. We've been awarded as best Wi-Fi enterprise solution, in that we were recognized the vision that we have and the potential disruptiveness of the market. And here we are with Arselor. Arselor and Tanaza have been partners for 5 years, and Arselor is definitely the main partner of Tanaza in Saudi Arabia. Our goal is actually to strengthen this relationship and at the same time expanding the cooperation all over the Gulf areas regions and over the Middle East. This is exactly our goal. Okay, let's make it more interesting. After this presentation, I will start presenting you the platform as it is, focusing especially on the most value that you can get. Okay, firstly, Tanaza is unique because it is an all-in-one platform. So on the one hand, you can be sure that your network is actually running perfectly. So you make sure that there are no disconnections, that everything is configured as you want. So we take care of the quality of the connectivity. And on the other hand, it is a powerful hotspot platform. Well, hotspot is one of the applications that we have right now. We have other applications such as content filtering or Facebook Express, which is the monetization platform released by Facebook. So on the Android system, on the cloud management operating system, we add added value applications. Well, we work in many markets, from retail, hospitality, healthcare, sport venues, education, real estate, offices, banks, events, festival, transportations. So we really cover 100% basically of the businesses that need Wi-Fi to work and produce better. This is the operating system. So it is a centralized management of Wi-Fi access points. Well, maybe I can show you something here. Let me show you. I will use this interactive demo, which can be more self-explanatory than my words. This is a nice tool our R&D released for this kind of presentations. So we can offer you basically a simulation of the platform for what it is. This is very similar to the platform that Wajdi manages on a daily basis. So he has all his customers, the number of connected clients for each of them, and the number of access points that creates that network. Let's take, for instance, this hospital. It only has one device, but it doesn't matter. I mean, what you can do basically is also, if some of you are in your businesses have IT managers who takes care of the internet quality. Well, with this tool, they can be sure that they can even anticipate the problems that can arise in the network. I mean, let's think about hospitality. For hotels, if you go on, for instance, booking.com, which is a very popular vertical comparison website, you will see that customers really care a lot about the Wi-Fi quality. Well, this is why it is so important also to be able to configure the network in a way that is well working and be able to troubleshoot fastly. For instance, here in notification, Wajdi can make sure that every time an access point goes offline for longer than, let's say, 1 minute, all members of Arselor get notified, or instead, he wants to simply notify himself or his technical engineers. So in this way, much earlier than your customer, much earlier than you realize basically that there is a problem, Wajdi has already fixed it. He can create SSIDs, so basically this the possibility to connect to all these access points, and for each of them he can make sure that, for instance, every user can use the internet without, let's say, stealing connection to other users. So he can decide that each person has 1 megabit per second as a limit. So, for instance, I think about a customer of ours that opened the case with Massimo a few days ago, because he has a dormitory in a school, in a campus. And basically, since everybody's at home because of coronavirus, everybody was watching movies and TV series, or playing with internet, doing phone calls with family and so on. Well, he just realized that the network that in normal times was perfect for everyone, now during COVID, since everyone is in the dormitory, stays in the residential of the school, well, they needed to change the configuration. So basically, he wanted to understand how we could limit the bandwidth per each of the student, so that he can avoid that one student, for instance, watch a movie with super fast speed and all the other students cannot even go on Wikipedia, for instance. So this is actually really important, especially in COVID times, because if you have problems in normal times, well, maybe Wajdi can send to you a technical engineer that can check the network there. But in COVID times, of course, where everybody is working remotely, or where movements are not really encouraged by the government, this is especially important, to be able to make sure 100% that everything is up and running and it's working perfectly and at a good rate. Something else very important, for instance, is the roaming, so that the student, let's still keep this example, in the campus, who is having a phone call on Skype, for instance, or on Microsoft Teams with his family, or simply for work reasons, they can move from one access point to the other one without encountering any disconnection. And this is also something which is so important. And thanks to Tanaza, you can basically enable all these features also on access points, very affordable, an access point which do not have such capability. Let's make an example. Let's take one TP-Link access point, which is very affordable. It's one of the most affordable in the market. It costs around $20–30. Well, of course, TP-Link does not have the roaming functionality. So if you place TP-Links in the campus and the student is having a work call on Team Microsoft, well, every time he moves from one access point to the other one, he gets disconnected and he needs to be reconnected. Instead, with Tanaza, since it's an operating system that you install on every device, you get also these additional features. So this is very important, especially during COVID times, because during crisis times, during war times, let's say, people need really to change their mentality and start thinking how they can transform their business and making it more sustainable and successful for when the wartime will be finished. So this is something Massimo and I are personally experiencing with many of our customers, that they are facing bad times. They are worried about their businesses, as it's perfectly understandable. And what we actually tell them is to try to see this as an opportunity to rethink their business. Crisis give us this opportunity. For instance, something that I often say is that in Chinese, crisis is a word made of two words. One is danger and the other one is opportunity. Well, we should actually change our mentality and think how we can improve our business, not only for now, which is something that we must do to survive, but also for later, for thrive and be even more successful. Let me go back to the presentation. Something that probably resonates more with many of you is actually the possibility to offer Wi-Fi to your customers. I know that among WASD partners, there are many restaurant owners, coffee shop owners, hotel owners, hospitality, hospital, and so on. And basically, it's a must nowadays to be able to offer connectivity in public places. You can sell this kind of connectivity, or you can offer for free, asking in exchange some data that you can reuse for marketing and communication purposes. Let's take an example of a coffee or a restaurant, even better. Let's talk about a restaurant. People going to a restaurant, and if they are tourists, even more, and I know that Saudi Arabia is actually investing very much for increasing tourism over the next years, tourists, but even citizens, simply expect that in their restaurant, they can connect to Wi-Fi. In some places, we work very much with satellite operators that have very high cost for connectivity. So they simply can decide that the customers can purchase, for instance, 1 giga for $1, and they actually have a return on the investment and monetize the Wi-Fi, having cash immediately. In other cases, instead, restaurants prefer to give free connectivity to their customers, but at the same time, when the customer connects, he leaves information such as name, surname, phone number, so that the restaurant can engage with them and send marketing campaigns that converts and generate revenues. This is why the hotspot is actually the most important way for monetizing Wi-Fi, either with free hotspot or pay hotspot. This is up to you. So basically, how can we build this? What we need to do is actually firstly to build a splash page that basically people, when they enter in the restaurant, connect to, for instance, restaurant free Wi-Fi, and they get visualized with this. Let me show you something. Okay. Well, basically, this is our editor, splash page editor. Here you can create from scratch or simply use some of our templates, compelling splash pages. Let's take this one, for instance, which is a restaurant that we were talking about. So, well, this is a template already pre-configured. People, when they enter in the restaurant, which is called MUCA, they will see that there is an SSID called MUCA free Wi-Fi. They connect to it and they land here, which is the so-called captive portal splash page. What we can do is actually to build many ways in a super simple way and add login options that can be social, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, which is very cool for restaurants, or for instance, we want a phone number. So people will insert their phone number here and they will receive an SMS with the code and they will be able to connect. Or instead, for instance, we were talking about just a second before about the possibility to make them pay the Wi-Fi. And so they can very easily use the coupon where they will purchase at the entrance let's say 1 hour connectivity, and they will insert their code. They will agree on terms and conditions, and they will be able, of course, to start navigating. This is a full responsive splash page, so it automatically adapts to your screen, and you can make sure that everybody from a tablet or a mobile phone, which are usually the most common devices people go to a restaurant with, can visualize this. So as I said, this kind of data is important for being used for marketing and communication purposes. And we store everything in what we call our social dashboard. This is an example, for instance, of a partner of ours. During these first 13 days of May, they had something like 3,775 connections and 518 users connected. Some of them connected through a form, which is something that you can easily build from here. So if we wanted to create and collect some information, specific information, let's say, such as name, for instance, we can ask them first name, we can ask their email, and we can ask, for instance, for their birthday date, so that they can receive, for instance, an email with a coupon that they can use to the restaurant when it is their birthday. So people, to access, they will have to enter their name, their email, and their birthday date, so that they will receive a gift from the restaurant itself, which is actually very appreciated. I mean, in Italy, every restaurant, it is actually like this. So they give you really free internet in exchange for something. And this something is actually data. Data is the most important element in the 21st century. Let's just think to Facebook. So these our partners use multiple authentication methods, such as custom form, such as email, phone number, or even Facebook. Social is actually something that it is great. Why? Because you can really have multiple information from them. You can understand when, their MAC address, the access point they connected to, and the SSID they connected to. So basically, this is valuable data that you can leverage for your marketing purposes. You can then see all the list of users in this page that basically connected to the SSIDs, and all the important information that you can reuse. So in this way, basically, you can really implement a hotspot system which lets you offer connectivity, engage with customers, and at the same time collect data. Let's go back for a while to our splash page presentation. For instance, you can even place some banners such as view menu, so people can simply watch the menu and decide where to take it. I mean, this opens doors to many innovation and added value application for the future, since you are really totally free to use Wi-Fi as you believe it is better. So let me close a few windows. Okay. Here. Okay, this is, for instance, Delta Mail is where we are. So this is my ugly picture from Facebook, but this is just the access I did just 1 hour ago, around 1 hour ago. And you have all the information. So you know how old am I. You get also the birthday date automatically through Facebook. And you know it because every day you see on Facebook that there are persons who connect, which is their birthday. And they can actually really collect email where they are based according to Facebook, of course. I'm actually in Milan and not in Rome, but on my Facebook, I am registered as I was still living in Rome, which I've been living there until 3.5 years ago. So you can actually really check and have a real understanding of everything. How many persons, who are your top users, and to those people you should actually frame marketing campaigns accordingly. I mean, if this gives you the opportunity really to segment your customer base. You know how many of your customers come regularly, and you can enable marketing campaigns accordingly. We have a tool which is called MailChimp. Let's show you an example here. Don't know if you know it. MailChimp is a very popular email marketing automating system. So basically, you can configure and you can create some flows. For instance, you can say to the system that if a customer comes to your restaurant once every month, and if for 2 months you don't see any connection, send them an email and, for instance, tell them, hey, how is it going on? Please come back to the restaurant and enjoy our special menu for this month. Or, for instance, you can send an email to young people and tell them, look, today there is a karaoke. So please participate with us. You can so segment based on gender, age, and frequency. If you, for instance, have a customer that used to come to your restaurant every 3 weeks, after the system relieves that he's not coming to the restaurant, he has not been coming to the restaurant for 4 months, the system will automatically send a communication that you can decide. So this really means leveraging on your customer base to maximize your revenue. Very often when we talk about business and we ask ourselves, how can we increase our revenue? We answer ourselves saying we need to find new customers. Not only, we have existing customers, which probably we take something like 50% of their potential maximum revenue. Why? Because we do not communicate enough with them. We do not implement added value marketing strategy to them. We do not send them communications that are engaging, compelling, and gives them value. I mean, if, for instance, a family comes to your restaurant once in 1 year, and thanks to your communication, you are able to make them come back only another time, you probably have already paid all the system, half of it, 1/3 of it, but you are there. And you have increased the frequency of that customer of 100%. So this is why it's so important to leverage your marketing data to extract the maximum potential out of your customers. Other options are actually the so-called paid Wi-Fi. So basically, this is very common in hotels, restaurants, cafes, and chains. I mean, that depends very much on how, in the way that users are usually treated in Saudi Arabia. For instance, in Italy, most of people expect to have free Wi-Fi, even if in some hotels you may be asked to pay for using the connectivity. In other countries, instead, is perfectly normal to pay for connectivity. So this is definitely up to you. Our system gives you the possibility to distribute, to create and distribute voucher templates. So with the code, sell them. For instance, if I am in a hotel in my room, I pick the phone, I call the reception, and I ask them, hey, I need 1 hour internet. So they will tell me, all right, connect to Buke Hotel Wi-Fi and insert the code 4567. And they charge me for the cost of that voucher, but I am able to navigate. So, and you can definitely monitor client usage and statistics as well. So this is another good opportunity for, let's say, having a very fast return on the investment. While Hotspot build a relationship with your customer, strengthen the relationship and create engagement, and leverage on these elements for increasing your revenue in the mid-long term, but this is the right way actually. This is another way for having it super fast. So basically, you do not offer Wi-Fi for free, but you sell it. And this is an alternative. Okay. Before moving to compatibility, which is a more technical element, I would like to understand if there are any questions on everything that I have shown so far. It's okay.
Mr. Federico, thank you for the presentation. Let me ask a question on behalf of the audience, please.
Sure.
Now, we have a good list of the audience here from the business, community, companies, and commercial. So having Wi-Fi access points within the company is definitely a challenge to manage in multiple locations and multiple branches for their own employees. How will Tanaza be allowing them to have that managed in a more basically easier way, as well as deliver messages to the employees through the Tanaza platform?
Perfect. Very good question. Thank you, Wajdi. Let me go back to the main platform of Tanaza, to the management platform. Consider, guys, that a network administrator, which have multiple branches divided in several cities, areas of the world, they can really have at glance everything here from our dashboard. If they open our dashboard once per day, they do not have problems to their networks unless something particular happens. Even starting from the map. I mean, now everything is working well here, but if there were any disconnections or any problems, sorry, I touched the okay. But if there was any kind of problems, we would actually see the red circle there. And so we would be able actually to go there and understand what's not working there. So even at glance from the map, you have such a possibility. Then entering here, you immediately see if there was any disconnection, any problem. And in terms of devices, you can see if it's red, it means that there is a problem. For instance, you can see the load of the device. So you already understand that that device is a little bit too stressed and that needs probably to be changed in the short term. So you have everything really under control. And most of all, if there are unexpected problems, you will receive an email telling you that your customer has an access point that has been disconnected. So you have really real-time alerts, and at the same time, you can anticipate every kind of problem by simply looking daily on your map or on your network in general. So you can enter very fast in here. You can monitor, you can see the device's status, if there was any disconnections during the previous days. You can do advanced troubleshooting and go back in days to understand really what probably was not working during the previous days. Or you can actually get more information about, for instance, how much bandwidth your customers are consuming. Maybe you need to improve your network under that point of view, probably by replacing even the access points. And in this way, you have everything under control. Wajdi, did I answer your question or should I focus on something else?
Thank you. You have answered it in full context. Thank you.
Perfect, perfect. So I would like to go ahead in the presentation to show you basically something that really makes Tanaza unique and the best solution for small and medium businesses. What is the best? Why is Tanaza so appealing for small and medium businesses? Why we've been able to expand all over the world, starting from Milan? Because we are vendor agnostic. As I said before, we add functionalities on access points that are super affordable, cost from let's say $30 to $250, so in the small and medium business range, and we add capabilities on them. So we really give the possibility to professionals to select the best access point for each scenario. Let's say that you need the roaming, so you should actually purchase one access point with a cost of around $150. Well, instead with Tanaza, you can purchase one, let's say, Ubiquiti WAP, which costs 60, and add on it our license, which of course have a cost, but at the same time really lets you to save huge money. The beautiful aspect of Tanaza is actually that it dramatically reduces your costs related to the infrastructure, because you can reuse the access points that you have right now by simply asking Tanaza to support them if they should not be compatible yet. And instead of replacing them, you can keep using those, making more powerful and with more functionalities and features. So this is really something very important. And in line with this, we have recently launched our white box solutions, which are enterprise access points, which usually cost in the market above $200. But since we have a network of ODM manufacturers in China, Taiwan, Far East, we've been able to really create this network that let us have access point at the factory price. And in line with our philosophy, we do not want to add big margins on them, and we have the possibility to give our partners enterprise access point at really a fraction of the cost. So basically, this is a benefit also for final end users, because they can enjoy high quality hardware, high quality connection, and at the same time pay a fair price. And this is also something that in crisis time people should consider. I mean, why should I keep buying a Meraki access point which costs $400 and instead I can buy a Cosmo which has the same performance, but since it is taken directly from the factory, it costs half price. And this is something that is not important only during COVID periods. This is important for later, because it puts you ahead. I mean, this is a trend which has been living already for, let's say, it's a recent trend, let's say 2-3 years. But there are enterprises such as Rakuten. Rakuten is one of the most important telco in Japan. They even are the sponsor, the technical sponsor of Barcelona Football Club. If you see Messi on his t-shirt, he has written Rakuten. They are really a massive enterprise. Well, they have been able to cut 50% on the expenses of infrastructure, simply relying on white box devices. So this is a trend, and those of you who will be able to anticipate this trend will be more successful in the future. As for the access point that they purchase, to the way they interact with their customers, building a hotspot and doing marketing activities thanks to the data they collect. And of course, the basis on all this is actually guaranteeing a 100% working and fantastic experience in terms of wireless. Yeah, this was what I was looking before, a red spot. Yes, here we know that if we click on here, we will see that some access points are actually having a problems. So we can anticipate that. Then there are other tools such as the auto radio orchestration. Every time an access point is rebooted, the system allocates the freest channel radios. And basically, if a channel is too loaded, automatically all the clients will be directed to different channels. Gentlemen, I finished my presentation. I hope that the main message was passed, which is basically start think differently. And Tanaza is something which is really disruptive in the market because it really lets you cut 50% of your costs and at the same time giving you added value applications which can really constitute the basis for a future success of yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I'm happy to
Mr.
answer questions if there are any.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Federico, for the elaborate presentation. It has been really great.
Thank you very much.
I will leave the floor to the team. We have professionals from various industries here. Mr. Joseph, maybe you might have a question. Mr. Right, Mrs. Roy, would welcome any question from your end if you have. Otherwise, you can type the question in the text box if you would like. Okay, so there are no questions, most probably because the presentation was so great. Okay, thank you for a well-conducted presentation and outline of Tanaza's amazing technology. Hopefully, we will get inquiries offline, and we'll circulate also to you and answer them ourselves. I would like to thank you, Mr. Federico, for the great presentation again, and looking forward to basically making Tanaza more useful to businesses soon enough.
It was a pleasure, Wajdi. Absolutely. Let's keep in touch on everything, and you know, we are here.
Thank you. You have a great day. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.